Hi guys, welcome back and to the car buying guide. This is stage 4 and I do apologise a lot of it, but there is a lot to take in, and I'd rather you be in full knowledge rather than just a little bit. So this one, obviously the last one was just turning up, that's it. So now what do you look for? So of course you've asked the questions, are the tyres good, brakes good, blah blah blah. Now check them. So now we're checking all the basics now. So what you need to look for straight away, because it's easy, look at the tyres. Now if you don't know anything about cars, which is fair enough, a lot of people don't, there's little blocks in between the treads, the grooves in the treads. Those blocks are the legal limit to what the tyres should be. So when they're on those blocks, they're just about to be illegal and an MOT failure. And if they're illegal, that's 3 points. If you've got 4 tyres like that, that's 12 points and a ban. So check for those blocks. Now it should be, the tyre tread depth from new is 8mm. I think it's 1.25 is the legal limit. So if that block, you can see it's like twice the height or more, you're about halfway through, you know, you want a good tread depth. Check all of them. But I know it sounds annoying, but put your head underneath the car, because the outside tread could be perfect, but especially Golfs, Leons and Audi A3s, they rub out the inside edge of the tyre. So check underneath the back of the car that the inside edge isn't bowled. So that's your tyres. Now discs, if you put your finger, your hand through the hole in the alloys, if it's got alloys, and just feel the disc, run your finger to the top of it, and there could be, if they're a little lip. Now all discs will have a small lip, but if there's a large lip, disc's dead. You can see that will need changing. Now if you can, take a torch and look down at the pad, and you'll see the pad sat in the caliper, the brake. If the pad thickness is the same thickness or less than the metal bit of backing that it's stuck to, they're dead. They're ready to be changed as well. Any more than that, they're okay, but could need changing. Double the pad, the metal thickness, and you're okay for a while. So big lip and a thin pad compared to the metal backing it's on, dead. They'll need replacing. That becomes a bartering tool. But if you've asked, are the brakes okay, and they say yeah they're absolutely fine, they've lied. And if they've lied about that, they can lie about the rest of the car. Think about either walking away or ask for a massive discount. So next thing, you've checked the brakes, you've checked the tyres, pop the bonnet. Now hopefully this car is cold. You can see all cars have a little oil can on top of the oil filler. Twist it and unlook. Normally they're a quarter turn. Have a look underneath. Is it just oily? Is there what I always say, it looks like chicken soup, which is basically water being compressed into oil, because oil and water do not mix unless under pressure. So that's either lots of short journeys if it's under there, or a blown head gasket. Now if you pull the dipstick out, look at the colour of the oil. If the oil hasn't got that mess in it, then it's lots of short journeys and it needs a good long run, and that will clear out. If it's in the oil, in the sump, which is on the dipstick, walk away, dead motor, or big bills. But on top of that, that's also big bills. But if it has got oil on there and no sludge, is it on the maximum mark? Now most cars have arrows or like a little dotted line, minimum maximum. So is the oil on the maximum line? If it isn't, how far down is it? If it's less than halfway down and it's recently had a service, obviously it's burning oil, there's an issue. If it's on the mark but dirty, if it's a diesel, don't worry so much, because oil, you can change the oil in a diesel, it'd be dirty straight away. That's what diesels do. If it's dirty and it's a petrol, it hasn't had a service in a long time, because petrols take a lot longer to get their oil dirty than diesels. The same with the oil situation is the same for petrols and diesels with that sludge. So now check the coolant. Now that will be in what they call a header tank, or what other people call an expansion tank, and there'll be a clear tank, and it should either be pink, green or blue fluid in it, and there'll be a minimum and maximum line. It should be obviously on maximum. If it's on minimum, it's not so much of a worry. If it's below minimum, it's losing water somewhere. And also, again, if it's supposedly been well serviced, that should have been topped up. So obviously it either hasn't been serviced or well serviced, or it's drinking coolant somehow, and either there's a leak or there's a serious problem. So you've also got power steering fluid. Some vehicles are electric power steering, some aren't. It will have a little steering wheel sign on the top of a black cylinder, a black carton on the top. So you unscrew that, you'll have a minimum and maximum on different sides. One is cold, one is hot. When it's hot, it's expanded. So just pick the correct size for whether it's hot or cold. Check it's on that mark. If it's minimal, if it's low on the cold and it's on that, that means it's lost fluid. That means you might have a pipe leaking, or the steering rack could be damaged. So just take that into account. Now obviously you can see things like belts, auxiliary belts that go around the alternator and stuff. Look for cracks, look for stretching. Are they bouncing? Because there's what they call an idler. If the idler's bouncing, there could be a bearing going. Now it all sounds very technical, but it's quite obvious. Obviously the engine has to be running to check belts and stuff, to check the idler bouncing, but you can see, look around, is there rust? Is there anything that looks out of place? Is there lots of cable ties rather than the official normal vehicle type ties that are in there, which would show that things been taken apart and put back together either badly, poorly, or there's been accident damage. Look for accident damage. Is there colour differences in the paint, inside the chassis, inside the engine bay, all around the car? Have they said it's been in an accident? Then just go around opening all the doors, make sure the doors work, make sure the electric windows work, go through all the fans. A lot of electric fans will work on 1 and 5 but not 2 and 4. They're separate circuits. So check all the electrics work, check all of the bits and pieces like that, the electric mirrors if it's got it, electric heated screens front and back if they've got them. Just make sure all work. There are no warning lights when it's sat there ticking over. When it ticks over, does it hunt? Does the revs raise and lower, or do they sit perfectly all the time? Does it, once it's warmed up, does the tick over sit perfectly when it's warmed up? Take it if you're still interested. Take it for a drive with the owner, see if there's any smoke when you accelerate. Look out your mirror, see if there's any smoke. Ask the person that's come with you to watch you drive away, see if there's any smoke. When you drive, listen for knocks and bangs from the suspension. Turn the steering lightly, see if it feels rough or if there's any vagueness to the steering compared to the vehicle you've owned before. When you brake, hold brake and hold the brake on for a little while. Is there any pulsing coming from the brake? That could be a warped disc or shuddering. Any noises when you brake? When you brake, do you get a knock from the suspension or the steering? When you accelerate or hard and then shut off, is there a thud from the engine bay, which could show that there's an engine mounting or gearbox mounting going? All of these things you have to pay attention to, because they all cost money, which either if you like the car and you're willing to take that on board, you can knock those off the price of the car, and if they're not willing to knock it down, walk away. You can always find a better car, and that is something I cannot stipulate enough. If you have any doubt whatsoever, walk away. Just walk away. There's always another car. It might be awkward for you at the time, it might mean you have to get a lift or catch the bus, but that is better than spending your hard-earned money on a vehicle that's going to be an absolute money pit. So my best advice is take a mechanic with you and walk away if you have any doubt. If you have no doubt about the car but the seller is just giving you all the wrong vibes, walk away. It is that simple. And I know it sounds, you know, oh, you've just spent a day travelling, you've done 300 miles and you've gone all this way and what a pain in the ass. But think to yourself, let's say you're spending £5 on a car. It's not a lot of money. To some people it is, to some people it isn't. But £5 on a car. Would you rather be coming home, £5 in your back pocket and wasted a bit of fuel, than driving home, not with the £5 in this new car, get halfway and all of a sudden a load of warning lights come up on the dash, and all you take it to your local garage and you go, oh, this is wrong, that's wrong, this is wrong, and all your hard-earned money is buried into this car and you haven't got the money to fix it, and it's going to be a money pit. It's better to walk away with your money in your pocket than it is to just buy a car because you've just travelled 5 hours and you've got another 5 hours to come back. Do it. Walk away. Take someone with you if you can, especially a mechanic, and if not, any doubt, walk away. It's the best advice. So for now, that'll be it. So I hope this has helped, and if it has helped some of you, let me know in the comments below, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers guys.